What's up, dudes? I know you guys have noticed the whacked out hair. It's because I just finished watching a crazy movie that was released in 2001. It's a Richard Linklater film called Waking Life. This movie, man, I can't even begin to describe the time in my life when this movie first appeared, right? So the movie came out in October 2001, a month after, roughly a month after the Twin Tower attacks in the U.S. here. And it came to me a couple years later because of one of my best friends, and it came to me at a time when I was asking all kinds of questions. And to see these questions expressed and discussed in a film was something that really grabbed me. And to see that these questions were the subjects of the film was something that stayed with me pretty much forever. The other thing about this movie is it's visually striking. Um, Richard Linklater kind of pioneered a combination of software technique with hand drawn rotoscoping to create a very painterly, dreamlike effect that makes a surreal film even more surreal because of its visuals. Now, it's about this dude who basically wanders around a dreamscape and he can't tell whether or not he's sleeping or awake. If that reminds you of movies like Inception, you would be dead on. Only this movie, like I said, came out way earlier. And it's really cool because the conversations are the movie. Um, there's a guy talking about how he feels voiceless and unheard, and he immolates. He dies via self-immolation. There is a pseudo street prophet that runs around telling people to wake up and starts talking about the various mechanisms in life that are meant to keep us more homogenized than anything else. There's a decent discussion on French existentialism. I mean, this movie has a lot for the questioners out there, and this is who I really recommend the movie for. People who like to talk about, think about, read about the big questions. Um, man, one thing I will say about this movie is that I've had a lot of people criticize it for being basically a shitty recapitulation of everything you'd find in a freshman philosophy course. And to that, I kind of say, yeah, if your idea of freshman philosophy only comes from movies, then sure, maybe. But in most movies, those questions are never discussed with any sort of depth, whereas here they are. Um, there's even a vignette about the next step in human evolution being the merging of the analog with the digital, which we've heard from people like Ray Kurzweil and Aubrey de Grey even before they started being really vocal about it. Um, it asks questions like, how do we know what we know, which is, the root of epistemology. Is information shared? Is the collective unconscious? Is it real? Um, how do you know you're dreaming? Which is kind of a take off the brain in the vat thing started by Descartes and extended by Berkeley, where he talked about um, what we know and perceive is merely a figment in the mind of God. That's Berkeley for you. He was a church going dude, if I recall. I don't really want to spend the whole video talking about philosophy, but what I do want to say is that I forgot how awesome Richard Linklater was. Like, the dude directed Bad News Bears, this movie, and School of Rock, and they couldn't be more different from each other. Um, to me, I take this film as a gentle reminder to think for myself, try to be present. There's a whole vignette on the idea of the holy moment being something shared both in life and in cinema, which I thought was really inspiring. And if you're into that sort of thing, watch this movie. It's been out for a while. You should be able to find it almost anywhere. Check it out. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the movie.